This is Shukumen. It's a very distinctive type of architecture, found only here in Shanghai. At one point in the past, more than 80% of the city's population lived in this kind of housing. But time waits for no one. And now with the progress of urbanization, the comfort zone of the Shukumen living is at risk of survival. The name Shukumen literally means stone, arch, and door. And inside is a protective microcosm of Chinese culture built around their most treasured values, their family, their community, their very spirit. I'm Nancy Merrill. I'm going to meet Julian Juan and her husband. They live in Rugali in Luwan district. It's the oldest existing Shukumen in Shanghai. The couple is over 70 years old and have been living in an 11 square meter back room above a kitchen since they were married.
本来我想养钉，跟里向钉进去，那个后面是呢，哎，钢布钉不牢了，那个快坏脱了，这根坏脱钉不牢了，钉不牢没办法了，钉不牢只好是能活牢了。哎呀，其实老那是有养钉了，我才自家钉啊，我去叫王国出来，王国出还来洗。喏，那也是不同了，哎呀。
When Shanghai won the bid to host the World 2010 Expo, hundreds of millions of dollars went into modernizing the city. In this process, over 180,000 families have been relocated into new homes. This is Madang Road. It used to be a sea of Shukumen houses. Now the city government built the transportation hub of Expo here. 76-year-old Mr. Wong used to live here. It was once the center of his universe.
我原来呢是住了搿搭马当路路径的，搿搭9号线为了只有400位，葛末我搿搭呢又是动迁了。今朝呢看400位，顺带呢来看看自家老房子的地方就是。
This is the Pujan Expo neighborhood. It consists of 15 blocks. Because of Expo, many of these residents were moved from their old neighborhoods and relocated here. I visited Mr. Wong, who is one of the many residents that used to live in Shanghai's bustling downtown area, about 15 kilometers away from here. During the relocation process, in 2006, his wife passed away. Now he lives alone in the Expo neighborhood. In order to commemorate his wife and the old house, Mr. Wong wrote a poem about his relocation process.
我是搿想，呀，这个是1个钟头要的，迁往以后，这个当辰光呢是搿春季的辰光，妻子呢开大刀子。 这个毛头比较大，困我好高，夜里向呢 死，脑壳子胀得不得了。一台老婆死脱，一台房子也没了，我没地方蹲。要求呢，8股份，有2房间了1厅，就是搿个房子。
Ho Tianying, Mr. Wong's old neighbor, also lived in the old Shukumin on Madang Road with her family of 3. They used to have to squeeze into a 7-square-meter room. Now they've been relocated to the Expo neighborhood. Their new house has 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. That's 111.4 square meters in total.
我来老房子里向我做生意的，我老早是来华兴路480弄堂口啊啥各家来下头做生意，做百货，卖袜子啊，卖袜子啊，卖帽子啊，太阳帽子啊，手套啊。阿拉搿搭团队也老好啊，阿拉一直想着老房子。
侪看齐个。阿
拉邻居关系侪
好照顾得个。
侪照顾到，阿拉侪靠邻居啊啥来个帮忙啊啥来个，要么用讲帮阿拉看摊头啊啥，阿拉邻居老好。阿拉邻居比自家屋里向亲眷也好，阿拉讲实闲话啊啥的。
The old house that Ho Tianying and her husband lived in was built in the 1920s. It once belonged to the former French concession.
阿拉一只搿等于就是一只地啦来个，要廿多个平方啊啥。因为阿拉来动迁啊啥来个，搿是伊拉搭个接手家啥来个。
The Shikumin that Ho Tianying and Mr. Wong used to live in doesn't exist anymore. But there are other groups of people who still live in Shikumin here in Shanghai. People cannot be separated from their homes. Churchill once said, "We shape our buildings. Thereafter, they shape us." To understand the people here, one must understand the essence of their architecture. Let's go down into these lanes and have a look at Shikumin.
How are you?
These peaches?
水蜜桃、桃子，你试试看。
This is a gift from you?
你吃吧，吃。吃吧，吃吧，吃吧。对对对。
Very good.
Sweet. 吃吧，你吃吧。
谢谢。
不客气。
谢谢。Very kind.
哎，好好。
Very good. Thank you very
不客
much.
气，不客气。再见，再见。
你好。Julienne Juan spent all of her life in Shikumin. Every corner in this neighborhood is familiar to her. Since she witnessed the flourishing and now disappearing of Shikumin, she has a very personal view to tell.
布高里历史，因为伊1930年造的，对伐？我1936年养的，我养好1几岁勿到，我等于逃难进了布高里，我没出去过哎。所以一算好了，现在75岁，实足74，等了70几年了。现在基本上老的一辈侪没了，现在我算最老了。
Shikumin was born in the 1870s. Due to the Civil War, many wealthy refugees from southern China came to Shanghai. As a result, foreign investors living in the former concession sections immediately saw financial opportunities and built the first Shikumin homes. To have a better understanding of the Shikumin, I interviewed Professor Wu Jiang. He's the vice president of Tongji University and former vice president of the City Planning Bureau here in Shanghai.
The idea of the master plan is totally come from the row house or townhouse idea of the European countries. But they cannot directly introduce the unit from Europe to China because the Chinese people only like to live in the traditional Chinese space. So the foreign developer tried to make this very typical Chinese living unit together with the idea of the Western master plan.
Even today, foreigners are still fascinated by the architecture used in Shikumin. The famous American architect Ben Wood is one of them.
Shikumin basically is a very big courtyard house, downsized to fit a very urban lot. So it has all the same elements. It has the big doors, the 3 stones, the courtyard, the front parlor, the back kitchen, the 2 wings. It was designed by foreigners for Chinese people, and that's what makes it unique.
In order to broaden the living spaces, Mrs. Ju and her husband added the third floor by themselves. They did so that their daughter and son-in-law could live there when they got married.
本来往没个呀，本来需要这些的呀。结婚这地方是没那个出来的。老早4年没办过呀，现在1年。
哎，这个你不好公开。
现在不大干啊，的到处，本来挖地不好挖个，现在挖地晒出来了，挖草都老了，那不大。
么现在讲起来，侬3个人，等小人也大了，对吧？搿么也没办法，也没办法，对伐？家里家去。
After the establishment of the PRC, the government provided housing through the People's Working Unit. Consequently, more and more families had to share their homes with the other families in Shikumen. It's common to see more than 4 or 5 families living together in one unit. Therefore, kitchens, courtyards, and balconies became public spaces. In the Shanghai dialect, the saying, performing rites in a snail shell, means taking good advantage of a small space. Due to the limitations of living space, people began to expand their activities to public areas. Spending time in lanes became an essential part of life. In spite of the poor living conditions, all kinds of salesmanship existed. There were booths everywhere. Childhood games took place here, and these lanes are very nostalgic places for generations of Shanghainese.
The alley is a public space. You can very easy to have your neighborhood. But this public space is not a real public. It's still, we call it semi-public, because only the neighborhoods share this space.
What are the emotions that these people are feeling when they have to move out of their Shukuman residences?
Shikumen means very poor living situation, but also means a very good location. When you move the people out, it means the people have to move to far away from the downtown. So that's why a lot of people complain.
Though people miss life in Shikumen, they have to admit that after moving to their new homes, the living conditions and environment were greatly improved. Residents like Ho Tian Ying experienced this themselves.
你先快吃饭了。侬叫我只要做功课了。马上要考了，高考了，明年要高考。
我礼拜1到礼拜5没打过理了。
是不要打那个，阿拉考好好叫考只大学来个，对啊。考只好点大学啥来个，将来工作寻得好，寻得个好，对啊。
老早里老房子做功课的环境跟现在好比啊，就是讲老早嘛，3个人蹲一间房间，晓得伐？那么爷娘来看电视，那么我就来搿搭做功课，搿声音也老响。就是来初中里向，我个成绩落来倒数个，恰巧搿辰光是阿拉乡正好动迁个辰光，阿拉屋里向房子老大个改善了。所以讲我初中里向成绩上去，包括我考上高中，阿拉小学里向个人全部老惊讶。但是搿只要是没有这个就房子的搿种条件闲话，我也是有可能是考勿上高中，现在个高中是搿意思。
For some people, a new house means the improvement of the studying environment. For others like Mr. Wong, it includes more living spaces to develop his hobbies. He wrote a new poem to describe his current life after relocating to the Expo neighborhood.
这里比较开心，心平不攀比。 就是心病不攀病的，盲情眼界病，老经读书欢。那搿只是最近还没完全好，但是我还辣补。老房子呢，我从扶梯上向侪下到顶上向，没事体。这个扶梯个墙壁上向全部画，照片间个一块路面子，我全部画这个，当时我凡此起我全部画好，画好之后现在考房子辰光，所以现在晓得，这个人大概画了蛮多的。现在我讲上去，这个上头么子跌下来了，那这个是叫蝴蝶花，30斤，30斤，海棠，基本上。花呢是不停开，就是那这个呢也是，这个呢我是后头想回来紧急事报以后，当时我想应该寻个辰光就可以小段了，白相蛮闹的啊。那么太阳好辰光呢，菜叶呢也等了身边的绕来绕去。
Because people are still attached to their old memories of the Shikumen, they've built monuments in their new Expo neighborhood to commemorate their old lives.
搿甲康里来是搿浦西来移过来的，老早是有搿只甲康里搿个农场啊啥来个，伊嘛拆脱了，移到这里居民嘛侪住到这里啊。那么搿搭了是纪念居民动迁啊，了解居民的搿个动迁的信息啊啥。因为石库门侪拆光了啦，没啥石库门，要曾经老早住过搿石库门里向，伊嘛让下一代来有搿印象。 阿拉住辣这里也是觉着老房子好啊，啥来个搿。
搿是当老房子好了，
老房子
环境是处理好，对伐？老房子比较闹忙点，对伐？
适宜啊，啥来个？
勿吹门，搿吹啥门？搿吹吹啥门？
阿拉老邻居侪。
公房勿大吹门，就是老邻居呢要跑来跑去。
原来老好个，肯定会得跑个。我到屋里来白相，那到屋里来，搿种倒有。这养狗人交关，哎哟，地方大唻，那么侪养狗。
我原来从来勿养狗个，我到村里养狗个。
哎，对对对。
因为实在是太无聊了，没事体做的。
The living condition in the new houses are greatly improved compared to the old ones. But to those who used to live in the Shikumen, it's almost impossible to regain the sense of warmth and security that they had in that old community. Every city faces this problem. It's one that can't be completely avoided. For that reason, Mrs. Ju and her husband prefer to live in their old house.
喏，也几十年了。
现在老个，现在爷娘也是老个。我那年困觉了。
我在那困觉。
哎，我晓得那溜出去了。
阿拉搿搭太老了。
前两天啊，遇到
要去看世博会去了呀。哦。那么关系侪蛮好。 现在夜里向人家老晚了是伐？衣裳没人收，那么伊拉辣海个人呢，想好收进去，到人家来寻衣裳再还拨伊，蛮好。搿搭阿拉一只圈子里基本上关系侪蛮好。
Since the Shikumen houses are the typical architecture of Shanghai, the great question is there a way to preserve them for the future?
The Shikumen was built still in quite traditional way in terms of construction. They use the wood, use bricks, very traditional materials. So they cannot suppose to build this kind of building for a very long time. The people normally suppose the life of these buildings only maybe 60 to 70 years.
Shikumen, like Bugali, which was built in the 1930s, has had an 80-year-old history, which by far exceeds its intended lifespan. Now there are two ways of preserving Shikumen. One way is like the Xiantendi retail complex, which is a partly preserved Shikumen combined with modern architectural elements.
We tried to keep at least 2 walls of every building, and we kept all the materials. We kept all the bricks. Every brick you see in Xiantendi was here when I got here. It might have moved a few feet.
The other way to preserve the old Shikumen is like the Bugali. The government reconstructed the outside of the houses and equipped them with new facilities. Guo Jin Lian, 10 years ago, moved out of her modern apartment and chose instead to live here. She has completely redecorated the interior of the apartment by herself.
买过来个辰光呢，头天辣当中，葛末搿搭里是卫生间，一只房间卫生间，搿搭里呢就是一只厅，葛末上去看看伐？搿种就是种老房子没办法个，对伐？因为哪能办呢？曾经就讲交关人也劝我讲侬买新公房买新公房，但是我讲我欢喜搿种介旧房子。
During urbanization, preserving cultural heritage is a long-term goal. It can't be solved in one generation, so now the task is up to the newest generation.
我是同济大学建筑学专业，在做测绘的暑假实习。福冈里也是非常有名的一个上海理论建筑第一。
Nowadays, we still very seriously to looking for an ideal living model. It's necessary is you have the enough privacy, you have enough public, sense of the community, you have the neighborhoods, you have traditional sense of culture, you have the modern idea of the development. But Shikumen is already there.
I can see from the look on your face that you believe that the Shikumen is the ideal form of living.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that Shikumen is not only history, it's not only heritage, but also we can do something, we can learn something from.
The true essence of better city, better life is when a city recognizes the needs of its citizens and then provides an environment in which they can achieve a fulfilling quality of life. Perhaps we might consider the city of Shanghai as a metaphor. It represents a lifestyle where traditional values coexist with modern values, all with the common goal of preserving the most important treasure of all, the human spirit. The past and present of the Shikumen has become a symbol of modern Shanghai, one that will forever remain in our memories. The merging of Eastern and Western cultures, of old and new architecture, has left an indelible imprint here. And if we listen carefully, even surrounded by the cacophony of the city noises of this spectacular metropolis, we might just hear the echo of the Shikumen, whispering its lessons of life. I'm Nancy Merrill.